A state legislator facing sexual harassment allegations will stay and fight. It's his party's worst nightmare. My thoughts about something we've missed in the discussion about gentrification and ink coffee. Softball is an oxymoron, hard as a rock when they smash into a pitcher's face. A rec player has an idea to keep others from ending up in his position. Following Colorado's sunflowers from field to a one-of-a-kind facility in our state.
So sunflowers are a native crop, and so they were here before we were.
And the Broncos can't be that bad if people are still stealing special Broncos memorabilia, right? Next. State Representative Steve Lebsock is the most dangerous man in Colorado politics because he is a man with nothing left to lose. His fellow Democrats just want Lebsock to go away. Rather than to fight sexual harassment allegations, they raise serious questions about how the Democratic Speaker of the House handled those claims. Lebsock now says he's not going anywhere. After a tearful interview telling Next he was the victim of a blackmail campaign to get him out of office and force him to quit his race for treasurer, Lebsock came out today, guns a-blazing on his campaign website, noting that one of his accusers, Democratic Representative Faith Winter, is running in a crucial state Senate race, suggesting that his party doesn't want Winter's truthfulness challenged. Lebsock promises to stay and fight, saying ultimately the truth will come out. Keep your eye on the ball has to be the ultimate baseball cliche. A rec player who watched the ball every inch of the way from the bat to his eye suggests maybe we need more than just a saying. Here's Marshall Zellinger.
3 weeks ago I was playing softball, just right back here. It's the last out of the game, and just line drive right at the middle. Hit me right in the eye. I went down, and the ball just kind of rolled right back to home plate.
Chris Grizzly doesn't normally wear a sprinkler on his eye, but it's necessary right now because of the gruesome injury he suffered playing in a competitive softball league.
Ruptured my globe, and it broke my jaw. Just broke everything all the way down and even to the side over here.
In short, a softball broke his face.
I just figured I'd just go to the hospital and get stitches and get out that same night.
The eye surgeon came out and he said it's the worst he's ever seen. It is a mother's worst nightmare. I will be honest to say it breaks our hearts to see Chris walking around with one eye.
Chris and his family were originally told he would lose the eye, but as they prepped him for surgery, Chris saw some light. He's still not sure what will happen when the patch is removed or if he'll be able to play softball again, but he wants to.
And that's the one thing I want to kind of share is, you know, it could have been prevented if I was wearing a helmet or a mask, and that's what I really want to happen.
Chris wants rec leagues to require pitchers to wear a protective mask.
The ball just came in probably right here, and it would have prevented it from hitting my eye. Even a lacrosse helmet, I think, would even be better. I would say, why not make it mandatory?
I checked with multiple cities today, Denver, Boulder, Parker. Nobody requires any mask like this, though no one says you can't wear one, and they're really not comfortable, but hey, it's safe. Boulder Parks and Rec told me this will be discussed at a year-end meeting for fast-pitch softball. One final footnote, Kyle, the batter who hit the ball visited Chris in the hospital. That's a really nice gesture.
That's a class move right there. You could see why people might not want to wear that Hannibal Lecter-looking thing when they're playing, but then you see his story, and it's like, holy cow.
And someone with glasses like me, I would love this, actually.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, Marshall, thank you. Ink Coffee at 29th and Larimer reopened for the first time today since its sign celebrating gentrification led to protests, an apology, and nationwide news coverage. Protesters were there booing customers who walked in to get coffee today. Next, capable fill-in hosts have had plenty to say on this controversy since it began last Friday, but I would just ask you to consider this. Ink Coffee is getting punished for being dumb enough to say the word gentrification, because when politicians call it progress, they get campaign donations. Donations from the developers who are also smart enough not to call their work gentrification. That caused pickets at their projects, so they call it redevelopment. Urban renewal is what the government calls it. A rebirth is what we in the media like to say. It's all the same thing. Neighborhoods being remade at the expense of the people who already call them home. A lot of the ink and the outrage poured out over a coffee shop sign celebrating gentrification ignores the far more powerful players in our city who escaped scrutiny. They performed a sort of grammatical gentrification, changing the very word into something that they find more suitable to their tastes and their bottom line. Remember how the people camping out to score Denver's 420 smokeout permit for Civic Center Park lost a foot race to the permit to some dude named Smokey? Well, tonight, Smokey speaks to Next. Smokey is cozy with Miguel Lopez. He's the 420 rally organizer who lost his permit after the park got trashed last year. So we asked Smokey, who snatched the permit away from a dispensary company, whether he can guarantee that that old crew held responsible for wrecking the park won't be involved next year.
Oh no, whole nother crew, whole different security crew, whole trash, best in the business.
After this review by the city, is there any reason they should not issue you the actual permit?
No, there should be no reason. I played by the rules, first in line, waited till 12:01. There's no reason. I'll comply by all their requirements they already sent me, which I'm already checking off.
That's what Smokey says. City's reviewing that same surveillance video that we've been showing you to make sure that Smokey wasn't a bandit in that race to the permit desk. We got a whole stack of next questions from you about the Republican tax plan moving through Congress this week. Our Verify team is checking out claims made about the House version of the tax bill. Understandable that you taxpayers want specifics. You can find our first fact check on this on the Next Facebook page. Here's politics guy Brandon Ritteman with round two.
Well, let's kick this off with a comment we got from Ron. My understanding of the direction this is headed contradicts what you said. For example, the Joint Committee on Taxation said of the Senate version, all right, Ron, I'm going to stop you there. We were very clear yesterday. We were only analyzing the House version because the House actually passed a tax bill. The Senate hasn't done that yet, but they did pass one out of Finance Committee. It's wrangling its way to the floor right now, and it's very different than the House version, so it is absolutely worth exploring. We explained to you that the House version will give almost everybody a tax cut in the beginning, but then, according to the Tax Policy Center, which is trusted by most of both parties, says about 24% of Americans will be in for a tax increase after the first decade of that tax policy. Looks a lot different in the Senate version, where more than half of Americans are in for a tax increase come a decade out. So good point there. Carol says, how can either of these bills possibly save families money, considering the elimination of the personal exemption? It's a good detail to focus on, Carol. The personal exemption in this tax year is a little more than $4,000. That means if you make 50 grand, you can subtract 4 grand for yourself, another 4 grand for your spouse, another 4 grand for each of your kids on your tax return. We showed an example of a single parent with 2 kids yesterday who ended up saving about $850 under the Republican plan. I promise you we factored it in, but since it was small on the screen, let's go ahead and make it a little easier to digest. So you're absolutely right, Carol. This person can deduct a lot more from their income under the current tax law than they would under the House bill. And here's kind of how that plays out. You can see their income is bigger. The subtotal of their taxes is bigger under the Republican plan. But here's the thing. The child tax credits are much bigger under the Republican plan in the House, and as a result, that makes up the difference. It's about an $800 and change cheaper tax bill under the Republican plan. Anonymous couple making 95 grand a year saw us using a person making 50 grand and wondered where they fit in. Am I to understand our income's above the national amount for middle income? Well, Anonymous, no, not above. According to the Pew Research Center, you're in the upper end of the U.S. middle class for a household of 2 making 95. But depending on what city you live in, it can be different. In Denver, you fall in the middle class. If you lived in the Pueblo area, you would be upper crust, Anonymous. Hey, lots more detail in this story on 9news.com. We've got tips on how you can calculate your tax bill under both of these plans.
Now, all this comes with the same caveat as Brandon's first installment. We don't know which exact bill is going to the president's desk, or even if House and Senate Republicans can come to an agreement. Turning Colorado's beautiful sunflower fields into something more profitable. Mixed messages on whether there will be a big party for Furniture Row racing. And someone is testing karma in a serious way, stealing from this lady.
But to see my Bronco Memorabilia was gone, it just killed me.
Let's find it for her next.
As expected, today's storm rather wimpy, coming in with not much moisture, but a big drop in temperature. 36 degrees colder than yesterday's record high of 81. And that number is where we should be for this time of year when we're headed back the other direction. That storm that rolled through didn't bring much snow to the high country or the Front Range, and we really need that moisture in the mountains. We have fair skies tonight, but clouds increasing tomorrow. Winds out of the southwest will give us a mostly cloudy afternoon, but it will be warmer with temperatures in the mid-50s, close to 60 degrees. Wonderful weather patterns shaping up for the next few days, with the second stronger storm looming on the horizon for the potential for snow late in the weekend. Clear, cold, and 29 tonight. Tomorrow, temperatures a little bit better than today. How about 57 degrees? But it won't be quite as sunny in the afternoon. Get you into the weekend with a nice warming trend. Next chance for snow will be Sunday night into Monday, perhaps even into Tuesday. Mountain resorts would love that, and it is a beautiful night in Denver tonight.
Kathy, thanks. Colorado sunflower fields don't exist solely so you can go out there and take Insta photos of yourself, you know. They are a cash crop and very profitable this year as farmers across the Eastern Plains complete their harvest. Our Corey Reppenhagen's been following the whole process since August as the demand for Colorado sunflowers grows.
So there are about 100,000 acres of sunflower grown in eastern Colorado, and so that makes it about a $30 million industry.
When the fields turn gold in late summer, the sunflowers grab the attention of the photographers and the passers-by, but their value is grabbing the attention of the farmers.
We're looking at a historically large yield this year. We're looking at a very good sunflower crop.
Sunflowers are native to Colorado, and Ron Meyer with Colorado State University says that sunflower is the perfect crop for our climate. It's very tolerant to drought, and it thrives in the heat.
We are warmer than we used to be out here in the Eastern Plains, and for those of us who have lived out here a while, it's been noticeable.
Myers says that more and more farmers are turning to sunflower as water becomes less available and the fear of frequent drought becomes more real.
Well, originally we are from Germany, and we moved here 22 years ago.
Gerhard Henkes grows 250 acres of sunflower in Kit Carson County. He says his crops are always strong, even in drought years, as long as they dodge the curveballs thrown by Colorado weather like hail and early freezes.
Because it's just so much more unpredictable than what we are used to from Europe.
One thing that is predictable for Henkes is the rise in demand for sunflower.
They are not that pretty anymore when we harvest them, because by then all the leaves are dried down and then everything is just brown and black.
The sunflower harvest lasting late into November this year. These sunflowers in Wiley, Colorado will be headed to Lamar to be crushed into cooking oil at Colorado Mills.
There's the mall, Colorado Mills. Then there's us, and a lot of people don't know that we're out here.
30 million pounds of sunflower seeds comes flowing out of trucks from 150 local farmers every year. The seeds are crushed. 7,000 to 10,000 gallons of oil is extracted and refined every day. The crushed meal that's left over gets made into livestock feed. Colorado Mills says that both of those products are healthier than the alternatives. Ron agrees.
15 years ago, we exported most of our sunflower oil. That has stopped. We're now using it in the United States because of some health reasons. So sunflower oil is high in antioxidants, low in saturated fat, and contains no trans fat. So it's a very healthy oil. And as a result of that, the demand in the United States has just skyrocketed for that oil.
So Colorado sunflower seeds are also used to make bird feed and people feed, of course, right? Snack food. Some of our higher elevated areas like Kit Carson County are actually known for making these really big, fat sunflower seeds that are actually sought after in Europe. And Kyle, actually Ron Meyer tells me that the people from Spain will actually come over here and buy up most of our bigger seeds.
That's really interesting. So Colorado Mills is the place where they process the oil. It's also the mall that got hit by the hailstorm. I'm wondering about how the hail impacted the fields.
Yeah, it was a rough year for the sunflower seeds as far as hail, and I saw it firsthand out there. In fact, a lot of those sunflowers you saw in that story were actually destroyed in Prospect Valley about 2 weeks after I shot them.
Oh, they looked great while you were there. Hey, and speaking of, next viewer named Jeff Quintance writes in on Twitter saying, Corey, you're like Kyle Clark with the off-road package. I think we should both take that as a compliment. How about that?
I'll take it as a compliment for buying.
Right. Very good. Thanks, Corey.
Yep.
Folks are fired up about Furniture Row, thinking the NASCAR champs are getting hosed on hometown honors. Tonight, The mayor offers his clearest answer yet about a parade. Then the city throws it in reverse. And it's a sign that failing to be charitable really does hurt the children. Next. When it comes to whether or not to host a championship parade for Furniture Row Racing, the city of Denver is all over the road. Every day, Next gets emails like this one from Brendan McGale saying the Broncos win a championship, they get a parade. The Avs win a championship, they get a parade. Furniture Row wins a championship, and they get nothing. Denver has shown a complete lack of respect and class, Brendan writes. Well, perhaps you recall my prediction from a week ago. Let's hope it's not just a paper proclamation, because those are kind of lame. Well, you can bet your whereas that is just what the city of Denver did at a press conference closed to the public yesterday.
Whereas Denver Furniture Row Racing Team won the 2017 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Championship on Sunday, November 19th. And whereas...
Yeah, it's one of those lame whereas proclamations. But wait a second. Then Mayor Hancock admitted that he is also getting deluged with respects for a real celebration for Furniture Row, and he used the P word, parade.
I got to tell you, I got more phone calls about how we were going to celebrate this championship than when the Broncos won Super Bowl 50. And as soon as we figure out how to throw a parade with you driving that car, we're going to do it, all right?
Uh-oh. I think the mayor just suggested a parade that the city has no intention of ever hosting for the NASCAR champs. The city clarified to us today that there are no further plans to honor the team. And now they're trying to draft behind Furniture Row. They told us, well, the team will handle any kind of celebration locally, as if they can just come in and shut down Broadway for fans. Furniture Row said there are no definitive plans for any kind of public party. The Broncos are sitting in 5th place in the 2018 NFL Draft. See, it sounds like super optimistic when you say it like that. A fan named Dorothy has seen the best and the worst of this team in the decades of fanship. This season's new low, though, was when her unique piece of Broncos memorabilia disappeared.
My favorite holiday? Yeah. Thanksgiving. We try to keep up with the holidays. My Bronco lights. It's just sad. I've always been a Bronco fan. I love them. I love my Broncos so much.
Is the bench in there?
Yep, way back behind that thing.
It should be back here. I decorated for Christmas. Saturday we were decorating and getting everything ready. Last night we went to bed and my daughter woke me up and said, Mom, she goes, where's your Bronco bench? And I go, it's outside. And she goes, Mom, I don't know. I don't think so, Mom. And I got up and I looked and it was gone. And then I seen my Santa Claus with the reindeers and my reindeers with the teeter-totter. They were all gone. I cherish all this stuff because I do it for my grandkids and my great-grandkids. I'm battling cancer on my liver and my lungs. 3 years. 7 months and 13 days as of today. It's sad that people do this, you work so hard and you have a lot of memories with what you make and what you have. And to take from someone is very sad. If you could bring it back, I'd really appreciate it.
Eyes up for that bench next, folks. Eyes up. We return with a sign that your charity can save kids from an unfashionable fate. And I truly did miss your feedback while I was gone. That's serious. It's a sign that your tips really do change lives. Janice Smith spotted the tip jar at Pulcinella Pizza in Fort Collins. Every time you don't tip, a child gets a mullet. Pizza Place says there's no backstory behind this. It just cracks them up every time. Robert DeBrun writes in, I had shoulder surgery yesterday. We'll have more time at home to watch next. Thanks for something different and better on TV. Oh, Robert, you just wait till you watch Under the Influence of Painkillers. And Hollow tweets, Kyle Clark out here looking like a thrift store mannequin. 99 cents thrift store from Homer Reed. See you next time.